Hey there, I am so excited to go live today. I have a very special guest who is going to be joining me. So today I am going to be sharing a Pinterest manager success story. So in case you are new here, I am Emily Bales. I'm a Pinterest marketing and ad strategist. And in the past, I really worked with clients one-on-one. And in the past year, I've really started to pivot my business, and I'm really focusing on helping women start their Pinterest management business. So it's really fun, it's exciting, it's rewarding. And one thing that I really have enjoyed doing is sharing success stories to show other people what's possible and what other people are doing in regards to starting their Pinterest management business, what their background looks like, and really showing and showcasing that you don't have to have a business background or a marketing background or a sales background in order to become a successful Pinterest manager. So I have Courtney who's going to join me. So Courtney is one of my amazing students, and let's see here if I can get this. Let's see. Okay. Yay! Welcome, Courtney. You are live with me. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. It's always a little interesting getting the Instagram live to work and then having people join. So, and I was like talking and talking. So thank you so much for being patient. I'm so excited to chat with
Yes,
you.
me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I would love for you to share what your background was prior to starting your Pinterest management business. So you can share a little bit about your background and then ultimately why you decided to start your Pinterest management business.
Yeah. So I am a stay-at-home mom, and I have two little boys, and they are just my pride and joy. I absolutely love being a mom, and that's definitely my main thing, my main focus. But before that, I used to be an elementary education teacher. So I taught first grade for 3 years, and I loved it. That was super fun. I love being able to, be with the kids, and that was definitely an amazing time. But once I had my first son, it just wasn't working out. I really wanted my priorities to be at home with him, and I knew that I could no longer be a teacher. So I stepped away from that, and I could just really, my husband and I could kind of feel like the financial stress a little bit of having one income all of a sudden. So I was trying to find different ways that I would be able to help kind of supplement the income a little bit. And I first started by doing some customer service for like a retail brand that I personally shop with. So it was kind of fun at the start, but then I very quickly realized like that's not my thing. I really respect people who can do customer service because it's not me. So I stepped away from that, and I did like a teachers pay teachers store for a little bit, trying to just create like some free resources. And I was actually looking for like ways to promote my business on Pinterest, and then that's how I found you, Emily. And so then I saw like all of your amazing information, and I signed up for your class, your free class, and learned a little bit more, and just really thought about it more and really took the leap. I was like, this is going to be perfect for my flexible schedule, for me to be able to stay home while also just generating a little bit of extra income. So it's been so amazing so far, and I've just loved everything.
Yeah, I love that so much. And one thing that you mentioned with starting your TPT store, and I've shared this with other people who have thought about starting their Pinterest management business, and maybe they've tried something in the past, like you shared, that you're in customer service. And it's funny because when I was doing virtual assisting, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but I had a client, and essentially I was doing a lot of management, and it ended up being communication slash really customer service for excuse me, their Airbnbs. And so I was, communicating with the guests, helping them answer questions, like I said, really all customer service. And I can just so relate. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like a helper. And in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I really enjoyed helping people. But I think that there is definitely through those experiences, you find out what you enjoy and what you don't. And even though I do enjoy helping people, I found that the Pinterest management, was just, I'm still helping people, helping business owners, but it was just a much better fit. So anyways, I'm like that. I can definitely relate to that. So, I think especially one thing that I've shared with other people who are thinking about starting their Pinterest management business is that it takes, it requires you to be an action taker, because if you don't take action, then you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to be spinning your wheels. And even with you just having the motivation and the drive to start your TPT business, I think that says a lot about you and your personality. So when you were starting and you really decided that Pinterest management might be a good fit, what did that look like for your TPT store? Have you continued to create resources, or once you started your Pinterest management business, did you feel like this has been such a good fit, I really want to focus on that? That was something I was just kind of curious about as you were talking.
Yeah, I will say I have kind of stepped away from that like a little bit more, just to prioritize more on Pinterest. But I do here and there, especially at the start, like that was a perfect way for me to practice all the strategies that you taught me. So I was able to kind of take those things and put them into my Pinterest account for the TPT store. So I don't really create any more resources for that, but every once in a while, it's funny, I'll get an email, and my resources were very cheap for like $1 or $2, and they're like, you made a sale. I'm like, okay, it's working still.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to see that.
Yeah. Still working for you in the background.
Yes,
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So, you were a teacher, and there's so many things about our stories that are very similar and parallel. And one thing, as you started your Pinterest management business, you've been so successful and, in a short amount of time. And there's so much to learn in the beginning that I've told people, it's just so important that even if it's not, massive amounts of action, of course, that's what I want for people, but it can be really overwhelming, because when you're learning something so new, your experience was in education, you are starting your business, you're having to learn how to market, you're essentially creating your brand. It's kind of like drinking through like a fire hose, where it's just so much. And I think that sometimes that causes people, instead of to be like excited and motivated and want to do even more work, to kind of shut down, because it's very overwhelming. So I tell people that it's really important to break it down and to just take one step at a time. And it's like, the book Atomic Habits, I am such a big fan of that book. And it's like, if you can just do like 1%, and it's that consistency that even if you're not making as much progress as you want to weekly, you're making some progress. So I would love to hear really kind of how you managed your time and how you've been able to, experience so much growth. So for a little background for anybody that is watching this live or ends up watching the replay, you enrolled mid-October. I think it was like October 18th, if we want to be exact. And I went back because I was actually showing a few different examples. I'm always trying to update and improve the Pinterest Manager Academy, and I was looking through some lessons, and I actually saw one of your posts in a Facebook group, and it was about doing testimonial work. And that was just the beginning of December, and now you have 3 clients. So I would love for you to share, like I said, kind of how you're managing your time and how you were able to experience so much success so quickly.
Yeah, so I will say that kind of like you mentioned before, it does take a lot of like action on your part, where you have to be obviously motivated and ready to take charge. And you do give like all of the amazing resources in the modules where everything is like laid out for you. So I never felt like lost, or like, what do I do? Especially with all of your coaching support. Like I knew if I had a question, which I always do, that I could just reach out to you and you would respond really quickly. But being like a stay-at-home mom, and I do still like teach preschool part-time. So I go in there 2 days a week. So my days are very busy. And that's what I love about this position as well, is that I can be flexible with my hours, and I can choose if I want to work, if I want to get up a little bit earlier while my boys are napping, whenever I can fit my time in during the day. That's what I really love about this, is that I can be flexible with it. So I would just say to stay on top of everything that that you have to do by creating lists, staying organized as you can, and really finding any minute, you don't have to sit down for like an hour at a time. I like to just kind of like you were saying with the 1%, hey, I have 5 minutes here. I'm going to do a task that I know is going to just take like 5 minutes. And also with my husband, just really delegating like tasks to him, like when he's able to be home and watch the boys for a couple minutes, and then I can step away for a few minutes. So it's definitely a team effort. And I really appreciate him and all of his help. But it's been such a fun journey so far, and just really all the tools that we've needed to be successful, you've laid out in front of us. So really my advice would just be to follow the program that you've laid out for us. And there's really ways in there, like you said, where you can get overwhelmed and it can be kind of daunting at times, but that's where your coaching and support comes in, and all of your encouragement. Because there have been times where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, can I do this? And then reaching out to you and others in the Slack channel of like hearing their stories and their support has been just a huge game changer of encouragement and just friendship and community. So I've been really blessed to join when I did. And one thing that I will say that really motivated me was when we were having our first like interview before I joined the academy, and you said, Emily, you're like, failure is just not an option for me. And that really resonated with me, because I was like, wow, like every day, you know, for any task, you can come up with a lot of reasons why you're not going to do something or why you're going to quit. But to hear you say that, you're like, well, I just made it work. Like, I just knew that I need to do this, and failure is not going to be an option for me. And I'm like, I'm going to be like that. Like, failure is not an option.
To be honest, I don't even remember saying that, but I love, I mean, I do say that, but I'm like, I didn't even specifically remember saying that to you. I love that.
Yeah, no,
I
that
remember that.
really stuck with me. So that's probably that's my thing now. I'm like, just failure is not an option. Like, you can't do this, and don't give yourself the opportunity to quit, because you can do it. Just keep going.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing that you mentioned too, that I'm like, yes, is that with the overwhelm and trying to find like your new normal, I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize that you were still teaching preschool. And I mean, 2 days a week, that's huge. That, you know, and huge as in you trying to juggle a lot.
Yes.
And so you had every reason to make excuses. You have two little boys, you have a family, you're still teaching preschool, and there's just a lot going on for you. And so, you know, you had every reason to make excuses, but with having that mindset and already making up your mind that like you're not going to allow yourself to go there, then, you know, I can see how clearly that has served you very well, and you've really stuck to that. And I started to say this and then I kind of went off, but with you and your husband being a team, that was so huge for our family as well, because, you know, one thing that was really important to me was that we were able to pay for our mortgage and still be able to afford family vacations, go out to eat, pay a babysitter, maybe not things that people would consider like luxurious, but those really are luxuries in life. And we didn't want to give those things up. I also wanted to take some of the financial burden off of my husband, because, you know, it is a tremendous burden for men to carry, to support their family, and, you know, knowing that that's all on them.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to, you know, help relieve at least some of that, even if it wasn't like right down the middle, 50-50, you know.
Right.
And also too, I've seen like so many reels and things where it's talking about all of the work that you do as a stay-at-home mom, and also, you know, you're saving for people who are at home and they're not having to pay for childcare. You're also saving that huge expense by being, you know, the caregiver. So,
Right.
you know, but I also really enjoyed, apart from just wanting to make money for our family and relieve some of that burden, make us more comfortable, I really enjoyed having something else to invest myself in, and something that I really loved. But it did require, though, that my husband had to be a partner in it. So like you're saying, you know, our responsibilities started to look a little bit different. So I would sit down, and like you said, I feel like moms become like ultra amazing at optimizing all of the pockets of time they have, because you just have to.
Yeah.
But I did try to, like, in the evenings I would sit down, and I actually listened. I heard it on a podcast. I think it was Rachel Hollis's, which I haven't even really listened to her podcast in years, but I remember her just saying that, like, when you want something, like, sometimes you have to give up the things that you enjoy, like watching Netflix in the evening. It was something so simple, but it was true. And I'm like, you know, I might have to work in the evening in order to get what I want.
Right.
And so, I would work a couple hours in the evening, but that was a lot of times when I would be doing like laundry or like other chores that I literally couldn't get done with tiny little kids running around.
Yeah.
So my husband, I tease people, I'm like, I started outsourcing things to my husband, and they, Matt gets a lot of compliments, and he is an amazing husband and dad and teammate. But at the same time, I'm like, it kind of wasn't optional because, you can't do it all. So whether you end up hiring a little bit of help or you divide things differently, I think that was crucial. And that's something that I actually don't talk a lot about. And so I'm so glad that you mentioned that, and that's something that, you've done with your family as well. Like, we are a team. So I love that. So as far as getting clients, that is something that when people are thinking about starting their Pinterest management business, it's really intimidating because if you don't have clients, if you don't have people paying you, you don't have a business. And so I would love to share what worked for you with getting clients, because you went from not really, having Pinterest marketing experience and really starting from scratch in October to now having 3 clients, mid to late January. So I would love for you to share, how you found clients.
Yeah, of course. So for me, I found what was the most successful was actually cold pitching. That's where all 3 of my clients have come from. So you kind of have outlined this in our course, but a lot of it was me like going through different niches and like, being a teacher, I was like, oh, maybe I'd want to work with other like teachers, pay teacher sellers. So I was kind of through that, just like the mom niche, like, baby stuff, and really reaching out to people through that. So I did, and on email, and I had to follow up with them quite a time, but that is where I found all 3 of my clients, which I was honestly a little bit surprised about, just because I'm not like a confrontational person. I don't like being like, selling myself like, hey, do this, do that. But like you've mentioned before, it's really not like selling me, it's really being like, how can I help you? Because I think that's an amazing business that you've started, and I'm able to help you just thrive and grow even more on Pinterest. So that's kind of been a good way to have it in my mind, of that mindset of like, this isn't like just icky selling, like I'm truly trying to help these businesses thrive. So that has been a big game changer. But that was where I found my clients, was through the cold pitching. But you also have an amazing hire form that reach out to all of our students here, that we're able to, if someone signs on, then we can reach out to them. So that has also been an amazing way for me to have other leads of people that are ready to hire someone. But really, I know there's, like you said, in the Facebook groups, that's where I've reached out to do testimonial work. And I actually do have 2 audits that I did through that, and then a strategy call that's going to be following up through that one testimonial post. So a lot has come from just reaching out and kind of like taking out a step in faith of like, okay, I'm gonna, put myself out there and offer my services and see what lands. So, but the cold pitching and the hire forms have been just a game changer for me.
Yeah, I love that. And, it does take a lot of courage, because that was one thing that I wished I would have done sooner in my business. And, I have faith, and I really do think that everything happens for a reason. And I don't want to go back in time, but at the same time, I'm like, I wonder what it would have looked like if I would have done that sooner. And that was something that really worked for my business. And it's hard for me in some ways still to tell people, it's like, it's so easy, and it's so empowering, because that it's not if, it's when you get your client, because it works. And like you said, you went through the course, you knew what you were doing, you had this beautiful portfolio that you had put together, and you had done all of the work. And the thing is like, somebody could create the best program in the world, but if people don't take action, it's not helpful. And so, I have just loved watching you thrive, and it's like, you deserve all of the credit. Like, yeah, I gave you steps, but it's like, you've done this work, and you've shown up in a way that, not everybody can. And so it's hard. Sometimes people are, you get imposter syndrome, and like we talked about earlier, you just decided that failure was not going to be an option. So back to pitching though, it is such an amazing strategy. And I love how you've leaned into that. And I've seen you through the questions you're asking, you've developed this lens where you know who your services are going to be a good fit for. And when you reach out to people, it's coming from a place of sincerity, and you know that you can actually really help them with Pinterest. And I think that's why it's worked so well for you, is because the people that, you're reaching out to, not only are you interested in their business, but you can help them. And so it's not like a hire me, but are you interested in seeing how this could help your
Yeah.
business? And so it just comes across so differently. And I think that automatically when you hear cold pitching, you think of people just like sliding into your DMs, sending a copy paste message, it being really impersonal, being like, hey, want to hire me? It's like, whoa, we just met. So what you've done so like strategically and well, and obviously that's why, you have had success. So I am just like so excited for you, and I can't wait to, watch your business continue to grow. If somebody was thinking about starting their Pinterest management business, one last question I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you is, what would you tell somebody who's kind of on the fence? And I think one thing, apart from finding clients that's intimidating for people, is the unknown of, am I actually going to like the work? And I think, I mean, obviously when you're deciding to not just invest, money, but also your time and your energy into something, you want to know that you're going to enjoy it. So, there is risk involved. Like, you don't know if you're going to love the work. So when people are kind of thinking about that, like, should I get started? Am I going to like the work? Do you have any advice for people who are, thinking through some of those things?
Yeah, I will say like those thoughts definitely crossed my mind too. Like, am I going to like this? Or, is this going to be something that like fits well with me? And I will say, like, as soon as I got into the modules and I learned more about like what this truly is and what Pinterest is, because I have used Pinterest in the past, like for myself.
Yeah.
So I knew A, I like Pinterest, and B, learning more about it. Like, I have always loved like graphic design, and I'm not by any ways like a graphic design expert or anything.
That was me too.
Fun to like mess around with things on
Yeah.
Canva and really just help businesses like learn about how they can get more of their audience to understand what they're, what they have in the products that they offer and the services or courses that they offer. I feel like that's been the best part of like, it's been me really helping other people. Like you said, like you really
Yeah.
love helping people, and I do too. That just being a teacher and mom, like you just love to help other people. So I would say if you're interested in any kind of service job, or maybe anything with like graphic design or anything like that, or even just using Pinterest, if you're a Pinterest user or you're interested in learning more about Pinterest, then this would definitely fit for you. And it kind of goes back to that mindset of like, if you really want this to happen, like you can do it. It's up to you, and you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. And just having that mindset again of like failure is not an option. So that would be my little tidbit of advice. But I really appreciate everything that you've done, Emily. And seriously, like so much encouragement has come from you and all of your coaching and all the other students. It's been fun to watch them like cheering each other on, like, oh yay, you had your first discovery call, or like you got your first testimonial. So it's been really fun to be part of the group and to share with everyone else.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And, I think that's something that, I can't take ownership for how amazing the women are that are in the academy. I'm just so grateful that people have wanted me to help, be their guide and their mentor. But I feel like that's something that I like to brag about now, though, because I'm like, everybody is so amazing in the community. And even though everybody's essentially working towards the same thing, they're becoming Pinterest managers, they all need clients, and they're all really looking to, get that first client or their second or their third client. I feel the support and that people really are happy for each other's success, and it doesn't feel competitive or weird. And I think it's also too because everybody's different, and we've had new students enroll, and it's so fun to watch people and the type of businesses that they want to work for and who they're excited, to see, like if there's specific people that come through the hire form and it's like, ooh, this is somebody I'd really love to work with. And everybody's interests are kind of different, and it's exciting too because I can see how it's creating this ecosystem of all these different Pinterest managers who want to work with different types of businesses. And it's giving support to all these different businesses then. And it's just cool to watch it all grow. So I'm so grateful for you, and also you taking time out of your day. We talked about where it is busy, and so I really appreciate you coming and sharing more about your story and what your journey has looked like so far. And I would love for you to share with people how they can connect with you, learn more about your services. I will be sharing too on my stories how people can find you, so I'll include that information. But if you want to share your email, anything like that, and then also more about what your current client load looks like right now, like if you're accepting new clients. So if people are watching as business owners and they're looking for a Pinterest manager, how they can connect with you.
Yeah. So I am accepting more clients, and I would love to connect with anyone who's interested. You can message me DM me here on Instagram, or any of the email that you share out. It's just Courtney with a K in the middle, Courtney K Yonan at gmail.com. So that'd be a great way to reach out. But I'd love to connect with anyone who's looking to expand their Pinterest profile online, or if you want an audit or strategy call, I would love to just connect with you and learn more about you and your business. But really the email or a DM here would be great.
Perfect. Yay. I love that. Okay, so I'll share your information too in my Instagram stories, and then I also share that in with my email list, so people will be getting that information there. But I can't thank you enough. I've so enjoyed chatting with you today, and I can't wait. What's crazy is, we still have multiple months together too, so I just can't wait to see how your business continues to grow and evolve. I know that you're inspiring a lot of people, so thank you for taking action and showing up.
Yes, thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate you having me. It's just so much fun to chat. So thank you.
Yeah, of course, you're welcome. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Courtney. Bye.